everybody. Welcome to World Edition on the Pod TV Network. We're looking for Mark Lee, but he's not here. Matter of fact, I have no idea where he is. He's supposed to be here with the news. And the only news I have is that it looks like SpaceX is going public. And I was waiting to see their price is supposed to be like $1.30, $135 a share. And I don't know if Sasha is following them. I don't know if you're following SpaceX. It's about to blast off today, and your friend Elon Musk will be a first trillionaire. And our friend Donald decided to stop the war. Got to stop the war now, as you know, so that SpaceX can go public in peace. And so his friend Elon can raise his $1.7 trillion for SpaceX. And I think that's the big news of the day. I don't know if there's anything that can be bigger than that. The metrics don't make any sense at all. No, I mean, unless you're in La La Land, you should never buy that stock. The intelligent investor would go, "What are you talking about?" But that doesn't matter, as you know, Sasha. It doesn't matter. It's a momentum stock, and people are going to say, "I believe in Elon." And so, even though it's your typical company that doesn't make any real money, suffered 43 billion in losses. I mean, if you look at if it was anyone else, they would be going, "Are you out of your mind?" And it's getting 38 times to 83 times price earnings, if there's any earnings at all. So I don't know what your thoughts are. I mean, I'm staying out because if I did go in, I got to watch it like a hawk because I got to get out real quick before I lose my panties. What are your thoughts about this, Sasha?
You are right that IPO is priced at $135. Now, expected opening of trading will be at $175. And of course, all these book runners like Goldman Sachs, like Morgan Stanley and others, they are doing their best to keep it afloat for at least day and a half maybe, so before it will collapse, because there are a lot of insiders who are holding that for years, although a fraction of what it's opening today. So it's even more incentives to break out of this dead-end investment. There's no liquidity. There is no fundamentals to support it, and get the hell out of there. So if you can sell it 175, 185, 165, whatever you can get, because your prices were years ago maybe 10 cents, 15 cents, or so on. So you're making a lot of money here. While company is not profitable at all. Companies lost $5 billion. And their revenue is nothing to write home about. But listen, there are a lot of spontaneous things that people are buying while shopping, for example, in the supermarket, but they're exiting, they're going to cash register. So they're buying a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of something else. They don't really need it, but they like it and they want to gratify themselves. Now, there are a lot of people, you say, they're believing in Elon Musk. Maybe there are some people who believe in Elon Musk more than in Jesus Christ. So what can you do with these people? They will go and buy the stock? Good luck. Okay, that's why it's opening around probably 1 o'clock New York time. I think maybe between 12 and 1. So we'll see what's happened. It definitely sucks a lot of liquidity from the market, because we are talking about almost $2 billion. No, what did I say?
Or 75 billion. 75 billion is supposed to.
Yeah, so
going
this
into SpaceX.
enormous amount of money, it sucks liquidity from other stocks, from probably Bitcoin and maybe some other assets. But listen, people want to do what they want to do, so there is nothing you can do about it.
People
yeah,
will
go
do what they don't necessarily want to do. If you have mutual funds with Fidelity, for instance, you may end up with SpaceX among your holdings, whether you want it or not.
Yep. Yeah, that part I agree with. In other words, I may end up with SpaceX stock because I have some funds that are professionally managed.
There's some kind of echo happening. It might be.
Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from.
And
So I may end up, but as an individual investor, because I trade my own stock, I'm not buying it. I can't buy into a gamble. I mean, it just doesn't. The metrics don't make sense. The company doesn't make sense. The leadership is questionable, even though they've been on a hot streak. I don't buy into it. So for me, I'm out.
The world's richest guy.
That doesn't mean
anything. Of SpaceX, the world's first trillionaire, is a crazy white supremacist who owns.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean anything. In other words, he hit the lottery. You got to give him credit. He hit the lottery on Tesla. Tesla should have gone bust, and it didn't. He knew it should have gone bust, but it didn't. So, and he has a lot of followers like Taylor Swift. He's got a lot of muskies, like Swifties. Okay.
Yeah, and he's convinced his millions of followers on X that this is the last stand of white people against non-white interlopers.
Mm-hmm. So he may raise his $75 billion.
It's just terrible you don't have to own SpaceX to be screwed up by Musk and SpaceX.
But there's a book called The Intelligent Investor that Bill Gates and Warren Buffett recommend people to read, and I have it back there. And it's all about buying companies by buying metrics. In other words, buying what the company does, not hype. And so the thing is, the intelligent investor can't buy this. But there are a lot of people who like to gamble. If gambling wasn't so popular in the U.S., Las Vegas wouldn't be the fastest growing city in the country. But people like to gamble. They want to take their shot at, hey, maybe this thing's going to take off. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do raise their $75 billion. I wouldn't be surprised if the $135 a share stock actually increases. It may go up to close to 200. And then reality sets in. And this happens not just his IPO, but all the IPOs. It goes down. In other words, it's the ride down that I don't like. I don't like taking the ride up, but I don't know if I like a ride down.
It's a coin toss. 50% of all IPOs lose money after their by the end of the first year.
Yeah.
But it's not just his companies. So I got a call from UCLA Public Health to take a survey, and it turned out to be about the damage done by hate right now. Like if you experience hate, and the deal is, if you go on X, and I go on X every day, there's hate every day.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. It's a horrible website.
And in the past month, I got shingles. Right now, I've got, I think, like a huge canker sore in my mouth. And I think I might be getting PTSD from just exposure. Because when I'm growing up, for the first 65 years of my life, nobody called me Jew boy. Nobody said get rid of all the Jews.
Right.
And I go on Twitter, on X, and every day there's messaging, and I report it. If it's blatant enough, it's get rid of all the Jews, get rid of all the blacks. It's really bad. And apparently it's messing me up.
But by the way, it could. When I did the research on Lynch parents, which I got, it was a big rashes all over my body, my head, and I was going like, what the heck is it? So I took pictures, sent it to AI. AI said, you got Lynch parents. I've never heard of it. It's caused by stress.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, are you kidding me? What was I stressed out? Well, in 2 weeks, I took a flight from New York to Barcelona, Barcelona to Salt Lake to LA, LA to San Francisco, San Francisco back to LA, LA to Atlanta, Atlanta to Tampa, Tampa to New York back to Barcelona. I did that in like 2 weeks. And I thought, I wonder if that's stressful. And of course, I stayed at various hotels, had rental cars, met people. And when I was younger, I could used to do that with, it's just another walk in the park. When you get older, it isn't so easy to do that schedule I just described. And that's the reason I canceled on my television shows. I go, I don't know if I'll have time to do anything because I was on the road for 2 weeks. Well, when I came back, I had rashes all over my body. I was going like, what the heck is going on here? And I couldn't see a doctor for like several months. So I threw it to AI, and AI goes, you got this thing caused by stress. I didn't know stress could cause rashes. You know?
Well, this has happened to me before, but when I was younger, I bounced bars, and I used to love the stress. Where when you bounce a bar, dickheads are calling you names and they're punching you, and it was fun. But apparently, in my old age, my body doesn't like it. The stress.
That's the problem. That's the problem. I was thinking about this. I said, I was on airplanes every other week for 10 years, putting on presentations all over the country. And it never occurred to me that this is possible. But when you get older, your body changes. As my doctor said, things break down like they used to not do, and it's not that easy. So if you get on a media site like X, which used to be Twitter, and now I'm not even sure what they're proposing on that website. Like I say, all I see is bar fights, people beating each other up. If you ever go see it, owned by Elon Musk, and then you get what they call it, pornography shows every now and then. It's basically a non-educational, horrible site.
Well, I like when the porn pops up. I'm okay with that. I like.
Yeah, I figured you say that's okay. The attractive women that go there are okay, but all the rest of the stuff is like garbage. Well, we did bring in
let's ask Dr. Sharif. How's your stress?
Dr. Sharif. Yeah, because he's doing the World Talent Economic Forum, which is actually something positive in the world, as opposed to all the negativity. So I have to give Dr. Sharif a lot of credit. When you're hitting headwinds of all this negative garbage, especially in the United States and Bangladesh, that may not be true, that you can stay positive. Like all the people are losing their heads, then you're a lot better off. So how is it going at the WTEF, Dr. Sharif?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all of the compliment. Actually, I do practice wisdom. So wisdom is something we do work for the betterment of the humanity, betterment for this world, betterment for the planet. And when you practice wisdom, so you can control your greed, right? You can manage your greed, and you can contribute more. And from that particular issues, our World Talent Economic Forum still, yes, country like Bangladesh, we have a lot of challenge. Country like Bangladesh, we have a lot of issues in economics, in banking sector, in energy sector, in politics, and so on. But good point is that this emerging economies, grassroots level community, they are very good, they're honest, they're hardworking. So my focus for this kind of grassroots level communities, like how we can bring progress 90% of the communities. The United States of all of the big countries issues, they only think about 10% of the people of the society, right? All of their policies and all of the things. But we have to think how we can support this 90% of the communities, how we can involve with this community, how we can help them to bring more success in their career and life. So this way, I'm very happy that I'm getting very positive response from all of the academia, from the government, and from different financial institutions. And even when I started my journey to develop these business incubations, already we are establishing our business incubation in 5 different universities, which has around more than 100,000 students. The same way, I'm getting very positive response from the many venture capital. Even I want to give credit the Western world venture capital, because they also join in this ecosystem and they want to support this initiative. Nick, you are also brilliant through your Pod TVs. Your Pod TV is very popular in our country. And I told you that there is a very good opportunity. We can sit together, how you can collaborate with the cultural minister of Bangladesh, as he is active member of World Talent Economic Forum. So Bangladesh want to go for cultural rebranding or rebranding for the Bangladesh. So your Pod TV has huge opportunity to support these 180 million people. It's not bad, right? Like economically and audience wise and so on. And definitely the history gonna remember you for your contribution and so on. So definitely we want to invite you in Bangladesh in November and December. And if you want to come before that, definitely I want to invite you all from the Port TV. I'm sure that Port TV has a very good opportunity to contribute country like Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Malaysia, Indonesia, right? This kind of countries. Like getting to the China will be very difficult, but the Asia Pacific is a very productive market, economically very positive. So why don't your next business trip in Bangladesh? And I
Oh,
want to
that's a
invite
good
you.
question because I've already had business trips in Scotland and also in the United States. So I've just finished up mine. When is this going to be? Is this going to be in November, December, Dr. Sharif?
Yes, we are planning for November and December, and we are taking
Yeah,
preparations. And all of you are very popular in Bangladesh, right? Like
yeah,
our Prime Minister office, our cultural ministry, our ICT ministries, many universities, and many people.
right.
They like your podcast.
Yeah,
So it will be a very good opportunity to engage with the new communities and explore business opportunities. And definitely,
right.
Bangladesh also bring benefit with your expertise, with your knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Even Rick, many people know about Rick, right? So Bangladesh want
Mhm.
to go for more engagement with Hollywood. So Pot
Mhm.
TV can be a good platform for
That'd be
Yeah.
Bangladeshi
great.
audience.
Yeah, because like nobody knows me over here. Yeah,
They
Yeah,
know you over in Bangladesh. You're famous over there.
I can't
Hey,
get anything made here in the U.S.
speaking of which, did you ever get a hold of Home Stoner
yes,
for this? Okay.
Homestoner visited Bangladesh, and that time I can remember I invite him, and he visited Prime Minister office. He visited Dhaka University. He visited largest corporation. Even he visited economic zone like Chittagong. He
Right.
visited with his friend. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I believe this kind of countries, like what I call global north and global south collaboration, is extremely important, because yes, this is beneficiary for us, that we can get new knowledge, new information, new expertise, and we can
Right.
uplift our community, let's say in the media area or in the communication area. The same way, you also can expand your business and so on.
Yeah. Dhaka is scheduled to be the largest city in the world in the next couple of years. I don't know if you know that. The largest city right now is Jakarta, and then Dhaka is number two, and number three is Tokyo. But on the stats, Dr. Sharif, your city where you live in right now, Dhaka will become the largest city in the world in the next couple of years.
in
So,
in in, in Dhaka, with my communities, we are helping to develop a innovation hub with all of the commercial activities like artificial intelligence, like media, like solar panel, like these business incubations and housing and hydrogen projects. The same way, honestly speaking, how I see the government planning and other things, because Dhaka right now is the central of Bangladesh, but Bangladesh prime ministers and our administrator want to go for decentralization. So
Yeah.
if you have better plan, if you have better like urban planners and urban corporations, investment company. I know you work for pension schemes. They are also a largest investor for infrastructure development and so on. Even your
Mhm.
economical and financial knowledge is extremely valuable for country like Bangladesh. So you never know. Like you contribute country like Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Nick, you can win next Nobel Prize. Who
Oh,
knows?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Donald Trump, we're both looking for a Nobel Prize.
so,
Yeah, Rick, go on. You're famous
so
in
I
Bangladesh.
asked AI, has the world's richest man ever been as crazy as Elon Musk, who's pretty crazy? And
Yeah.
it reminded me about some famous crazy rich people from history. And it talks about this 14th century emperor of the Mali Empire named Mansa Musa, who took like 20, 30,000 people on a pilgrimage to Mecca and took tons of gold with him and spent so much money he destroyed the economy of Egypt by spreading vast amounts of wealth. Then it talks about Howard Hughes,
Howard Hughes, yep.
super crazy, lived in a
Mhm.
penthouse in a Vegas casino for years, saved his urine in jars, uh, was a recluse guarded by Mormons. I mean, they made a whole movie about him,
Right.
starring Leonardo DiCaprio. On top of his craziness, he flew planes and he raced cars, and he had a zillion concussions, which exacerbated his
Yeah.
nutsness. Um,
Yeah, I don't think that Elon compares to Howard Hughes. I mean, I think Howard was in a whole different era. My problem isn't even his craziness. My problem is the metrics of what he's selling. In other words, it just doesn't make any sense for an individual investor. If you're I don't know, a mutual fund, would you really put your money there? I don't know. You know, I just go, my institutional managers, they're going to do what they're going to do. But me, I can't do that. I keep looking at them going like, okay, some people can make a lot of money at it. And then there'll probably be a lot of people that are going to lose their shirts. That's just my prediction. In other words, they're going to take because remember when they had those meme stocks, AMC, and,
Yeah.
people touted it up, then it crashed.
GameStop, yeah.
GameStop. I mean, the thing is the fundamentals and the court, it just wasn't there. So you're gambling, and you got to be real careful if you're going to do that. So like I said, I'm going to follow it because I think it's pretty exciting. I hope it does well for this reason. It's a bellwether for future other IPOs, and it could create a resurgence of, how you say, wealth in America for what's that worth. In other words, I may be able to do business off those people. We do a lot of business right now.
I want to mention two more historically insane, super rich people. Emperor Caligula from the Roman Empire. This guy commanded a ton of wealth. He did crazy crap like he declared war on the ocean. He didn't like the ocean. He started a fight with the ocean.
Did he win?
He said he did. He collected seashells as war trophies. He appointed his horse to the Senate. So he
did what with his horse to the Senate?
He appointed his horse. He made the horse a member of the Senate.
Of course, the horse in the Senate.
And then there was Mad King Ludwig of Bavaria, the Disney castle. You see it at the beginning of Disney movies. This guy bankrupted Bavaria, building this insane fancy castle. It's Neuschwanstein Castle. And it was so fancy and so expensive that it depleted the treasury.
Right. Yeah.
The castle, just for ornamental. It wasn't to protect people. Castles used to be put up, as points of defense. No, this was just for fun.
Yeah. And by the way, if something bad happens to SpaceX, it could wreak havoc on the American economy because people emotionally go, oh, SpaceX didn't make it. That means something's wrong with the market. In other words, it could take a turn negatively for the market because people are watching it so carefully, Rick.
Let's see what it's doing right now.
Yeah, from what I understand, it should the opening price is supposed to be $135 a share.
Yeah.
I don't know if
it hasn't opened yet. I don't think.
I thought it was opening up about an hour ago.
Well, I don't know. I'm just seeing it now. It hasn't moved.
Well, I'm not sure if it's going to move until they sell out at 135. I think his plan was he wasn't going to let it float.
Okay, I didn't know you had the ability to do that.
No, you don't. But he's pushed in special rules to do things like that, and other special rules. He wanted to get listed on the indexes like the S&P 500 before it's been around for a year. Okay, so the NASDAQ actually changed the rules to allow it. And then if it goes at the level it does, it'll be the 7th largest company in America, has a bigger net worth than Tesla. You see what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. You got really some very interesting metrics here on SpaceX, but they may have no movement until they sell out their entire position. So,
Okay.
The massive blah, 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 blah. So I don't know if it's going to be trading at all.
So his other company, Tesla, is down. Oh, now it's down 1% for the day.
What, Tesla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, so
Yeah, see, they're showing no charts available. But if you look at the fundamentals quarterly, okay, quarterly revenue, 4.6 billion. Now you're going to value a company at 1.75 trillion that made 4.6 billion. Think about
that's
it.
a PE of like what, 350 or something?
It's off the charts. But with Elon, he's had off the charts PEs before, because we followed Tesla one time at like 1,000 PE ratio. I mean, this guy is a magician when it comes to price earnings ratios. Like PE ratios don't mean anything to him. Earnings don't mean anything to him. Nothing means anything to him. Can he get people to invest? So, but the 4.69 billion, it gives you a $1,770,000,000 market cap. The math doesn't add up. I mean, so every time I look, I go, "This is great," but
Well, also the
ain't there.
utility of the company. What SpaceX does is it throws stuff into space, and I don't know
Right.
how much utility, like how much growth is there. Like they've already put up like 10,000 satellites for Starlink, right? They what they do is they send a rocket into orbit with like 30 sub rockets. It gets up there and then it spreads these 30 satellites out across the sky to give you Starlink, which has like 10,000 satellites up there. But once you've done that, what else can you do? We're not building on the moon yet. And also, if you do build on the moon, there's no financial return in that. You can't get rich by building factories on the moon. So, with Apple, there was, you can sell products. There's an average of one smartphone per person on Earth. There's a viable business model there. I'm not sure, how you can, get a bunch of revenue out of SpaceX.
Well, the thing is, his revenue source is through Starlink, which has actually done quite well. My business partner even bought some of their products. So Starlink, which is really you're able to access the internet even if you're out in the mountains of nowhere, which he goes out to the mountains of Utah and camps out. And there's no access to the internet except through Starlink. So that's part of the reason he bought it. And there's 9 million users, I think, right now in the United States in Starlink. But that is certainly, if a Starlink was spun off independently, you'd have to look at it. It actually has a good business plan. His artificial intelligence program, that is such competitive space with no profits in sight. And so he's developing AI, but he's got to go up against Anthropic, OpenAI, Google. I mean, he's got all these competitors out there. And when you're looking as an investor, where's the beef? Where's the profit? You can't find it. So then his third one is SpaceX. Most of his spaceships are funded by the U.S. federal government. Okay, so here he has a little bit of monopoly because with Donald Trump. Okay, hey, can you give me a no bid contract on a bunch of spaceships that take satellites into space for whatever reason, for surveillance reasons?
Like, how big a business is that? I don't think there's ever been more than like 14 people in space at a time. It's like,
I don't know. In other words, the thing is, I'm not a subject matter expert in any of these industries, but if you look at what he's doing, he's got 3 different companies going public simultaneously. They should be independently owned and operated, but no, they're not. They're all under the umbrella of Elon, along with Tesla. Okay.
But there's one more there's 4 under the umbrella. There's this thing called Starshield, which is putting stuff into space for defense.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Trump has this idea of a golden dome to protect us.
Yeah, Golden Dome, funded by Rick Rosner and yours truly. In other words, the Golden Dome is funded by taxpayer money, right?
Yeah, and also it's not super feasible because you have hypersonic missiles traveling.
you know who's making Elon Musk a trillionaire? It's the American public. It's the American taxpayer. It's the politicians and also the oligarchs. So if he becomes a trillionaire, he can thank the fact he got the American government to fund his projects. In other words, it's not like this guy's getting independent capital that's funding it. He's getting money from, frankly, the U.S. government, the government that he hates. That he says overspends money. It spends way too much.
I asked
And
AI,
they're funding his magic dreams. I mean, seriously, the American public has got to get a grip on this. You know.
So Musk has received at least 38 billion in government contracts over the past 2 decades.
38 million or 38 billion.
Billion.
Right.
And
okay. Now remember, this was the guy that was holding up the saw, whatever it was, that said, "I'm going to cut government spending." This guy had how much in government contracts, counselor?
$38 billion.
38 billion, correct?
Compared to his overall net worth now, that's only like what, 2.5%?
No, I understand it, but this guy was the guy holding up a chainsaw, saying, "I'm going to cut government spending," and then on the other side, he's collecting 38 billion from the government. Do you see any hypocrisy there, or is this just normal? You know, and then to make matters worse, to make sure he gets the contracts, he gives Donald 250 million, which is pocket change,
300
for 300 million for his campaign. So if you think about it, for 300 million, you get 38 billion. How many people that are listening to the show would do that? 300 million will get you 38 billion. How many people will do this?
Yeah, that's a return of 10,000, 130,000, 13,000%.
Yeah, it's a good ROI.
During the election,
Yeah.
he went into Ohio, Musk did, and he said, "I'm giving away $1 million a day for people who vote."
Right.
Which you're not supposed to, that's illegal. You're not supposed to pay voters. But he said, well, it was a lottery. And you cast your vote, you let us know that you voted, and you're in a lottery for $1 million.
Oh, super duper.
Every day for like a couple of weeks, he did that.
Right.
There was another
Well,
deal that Elon Musk a couple of years ago did. He offered that people can buy Tesla cars by paying bitcoins for it. And it was going on for about a month, and then it was canceled.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know why it was canceled.
Possibly because Bitcoin tanked. Who knows? So, you know, but again, it was, the way I look at Sasha, that was a marketing play. The guy obviously knows how to play the market, and he knows how to play the politics. He certainly was correct to bet on a politician who would shove contracts to his corporations that shove his net worth off the sky. Now he's back, okay, with SpaceX, and I'm going like, oh, really? This is going to be fun. Where is he going? And then, of course, he bought X, which was a horrible deal. I mean, from any metric at all, including probably he would admit it. That's probably the worst deal.
Yeah, he paid $44 billion for X. And then he destroyed it. It's probably worth just like $3 billion now. He doesn't.
Well, yeah, it's not publicly traded, so you don't know what the valuation of X is. But what you do know is 44 billion is a lot of money for a website. You know, I can get website developers cheaper than 44 billion. You know, so that's what he did, and then the content creators, of course, are just people who throw things on X. Unfortunately, it's the same content over and over again. Like I said, people beating people up every now and then, a nice show, and then you move on, and people are beating each other up. And that's it. The message of X is nothing. There is no message. You know, it's like.
Well, at the time when he put it, it was a political move to help Trump to get elected. And from that point on, there's nothing exciting about X, really.
Yeah, and they do have a following, so you can't dismiss that no one watches it. People do watch it. But seriously, is it a $44 billion following? No. and he borrowed a lot of that money because remember, this guy doesn't have cash, because it's the valuation of his stock. When he becomes a trillionaire, he will not have $1 trillion in cash, not even close. The value of his stock makes him a trillionaire. But if you said, Elon, get a hold of 500 billion, he couldn't do it. Now the companies
Actually, even X he bought with the help of
Yeah.
Russian oligarchs' money.
Yeah, and also Larry Ellison.
Few-
Now, by the way,
few
the
people
companies
know.
I work with, if you ask them to get a hold of 500 billion cash, they haven't. Okay, and I'm talking about Principal Financial, Mass Mutual. These are two companies we work with all the time, but they actually have 500 billion cash. They have 700 billion cash. Elon doesn't. He doesn't. As a matter of fact, American National, the company we used to work with, there's a guy named Hilton. You're probably familiar. He created the Hilton hotels. He didn't have the cash to do it. He went to American National, the insurance company. They're the ones that gave him the cash. Because the insurance companies I work with actually have the cash. They're just cash pools. These companies that are going public, like SpaceX, Tesla, they don't have the money. They have a valuation based on earnings, but they do not have the cash. So if they needed to get that cash, they'd have to go borrow it from rich oligarchs, Larry
So
Ellison.
I've got a question for you.
insurance.
You've worked with insurance companies your whole life.
A long time, about 40
Why
years.
are they so good at investing? Because I've noticed I have some life insurance policies,
Some are, some
and
aren't.
year over year, the dividend on the
Yeah.
cash value of that
Keeps
insurance
increasing.
goes up quite a bit.
Yeah, well, first of all, they're regulated by NAICS, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, give them model portfolios of what they're supposed to invest in. Number two, they're supposed to keep basically a huge amount in what they call it reserves in U.S. Treasuries and corporate bonds. In other words, they invest very conservatively. They're not. That's what I'm saying. The intelligent investor. They read the book. They follow it. Third, most of the people that do that work are actuaries, and the actuary's degree is in mathematics. Once they get their math degree, Rick, they're really smart, but they have no jobs. Okay, so there's no jobs in math except teaching math. So what do? They go work for the insurance company. So I was talking to a couple of them yesterday at the home office, and I know these guys because I worked with them for years. And I said, well, what do you do? Well, we're actuaries. Okay, so I look them up. They're all math majors. They're
No, I was a
usually
math
758,
major. I
800
started
SAT
down that
scores on
path, and it's a
What?
brutal path. You have to take 10 qualified.
Oh, that's if you want to be an enrolled actuary. There's different levels of actuaries. Okay, you could just be a associate actuary, and you don't have to go through all those tests, or just be an actuary. If you go through what you're describing, then yeah, you got to take all these tests and pass it. But some of these people, they love it. I mean, their life is that. Now, when it comes to investing, a lot of them, what they do is they follow NAIC guidelines, but not all insurance companies invest wisely all the time. So it just is, but they all have pool. They call it pools of money. I mean, well, our ask was, we got 6 billion. Will you take 6 billion? And they were humming and hawing because I know the company size is only like 90 or 130 billion. But realize the amount of money the insurance company has on file, they could buy the entire IPO of SpaceX. Seriously. SpaceX wanted 75 billion. The insurance companies I work with could all write the check. Now, why don't they do it? Because they're not stupid. Okay. The actuaries would do like I look at it and go,
We
want us
have
to write this?
Toby here, and in your neck of the woods, you've got one of the great playoff series going on.
yeah, the Carolina Hurricanes, apparently.
They're the underdogs,
they
but they're up
tied it up.
3-2
Are they up 3-2 or are they tied, Jacoby?
last night.
Yeah, Rick is right. They're up 3-2.
You're kidding. The Hurricanes are up 3-2?
Yes, and they're the first team in playoff history to score at least 4 goals in each of their finals games.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, so they have a chance because they haven't won anything in 20 years. But I think the big win was what the New York Knicks did the other day against San Antonio. Holy, are you kidding me? Boy, San Antonio really choked. But the Knicks, and the celebrities that came out, You know, who's a Taylor Swift, Adam Sandler, you know,
Yeah,
all
no, it was
Michael
crazy.
Fox.
Ben Stiller, yeah,
Ben Stiller, yeah, everybody who was anybody in New York went to that
Mike
game.
Lee.
Yeah,
So-
Spike Lee. But
so-
I'll tell you one thing: they saw probably the game of the year
Well,
in
yeah.
basketball.
So what I want to ask you, Toby, was it choking or was it? I've heard it was live by the three, die by the three. The three shot is you only even the best shooters only make it 40% of the time. So you can
So
get
it's
lucky
weird.
and then you can get unlucky. Was that the case or?
It's youth. You have a team that's experienced in the playoffs that had an opportunity to play last year and the year prior. They had the heartbreak in the playoffs. This is actually what everybody had expected out of the Spurs in the first, second, or their first and second series. They thought that they were going to fall off when they were playing the first go round, the second go round, but the inexperience is now showing up in the finals, which sadly for the Spurs, it's not working out the way that they wanted to. But yeah, it's just youth and inexperience. This is their first time being in the playoffs. So it's just they're just playing. They were playing happy before, and stress was just dropping off. But it's just tough. Yeah, you're not going to hit everything, and the ball was bouncing their way in the first couple of series. Like I said, the youth and inexperience, it's a real thing. So would I say they choked? Not really. I mean, there's a little bit of choking and a little bit of the Knicks going for it. So yeah, I mean, it's that experience that showed out for the Knicks.
A 29-point lead, and they blew it in one half.
Well, they were up 20 points in the fourth quarter at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
So
20 points in the fourth quarter, and they lose.
What
They choked.
epitomized everything
Sorry.
is when De'Aaron Fox had the ball with 10 seconds to go and they actually had the lead. De'Aaron Fox thought he could outrun the OG Anunoby to take him up by 3, which was a bad idea. Which all he had to do was hold the ball and the ball game is over. It's the same thing that happened to Duke this year when Duke
Controversy, right?
in the NCAA tournament. When
Right.
Duke was actually winning, and one of the players, instead of actually holding on to the ball with less than 10 seconds to go in the backcourt and the game is over, he actually tries to throw the ball up front. It's again inexperience, youth. Not
Yeah, I think that was Boozer who threw it, and all they had to do is hold it, or we used to call it squeeze it. In other words, squeeze it and wait to get fouled.
There was a similar moment where the other game that
no
the
words.
Spurs lost by 1, Wembanyama threw past the ball with seconds to go. His teammate was not looking, and the ball bounced off his back and went out of bounds.
Yeah, so Wembanyama grabbed a rebound. He looked at Castle. Castle turned the other way, and Wembanyama, instead of again, youth and inexperience, you're still unsure of how to handle those final moments. And you don't have a go-to or a set play. You're still learning. Kid's only 22. And the team is the youngest team in the NBA to reach the finals, if I remember, or second youngest team to reach the finals. None of the other teams that were younger or actually that young won the finals. You have to go through it. It's one of their go-through-it moments. So they may end up losing this year. Next year, if they retool, they'll have that experience of what it takes to win the title, and then they'll be able to.
Will Wembanyama possibly be the greatest player in history?
He has if he stays healthy, yes, because he's shooting at a high percentage. He can hit threes. Nobody else is hit. I mean, at his size, no one else is hitting threes like he is. He also makes free throws. He has I think he's shooting about 80% in the playoffs. He rebounds the ball. He blocks. He has more blocks than most teams in the NBA. In terms of rebounding, he has he already passed Wilt Chamberlain, I think, at his age for a rebound. So yeah, if he stays healthy,
So
he's going to be the best player to ever walk.
So he has to protect, like LeBron James gets a lot of criticism for whining to the refs, but I kind of think that contributes to his longevity. That to last 23 years, you have to make sure that the refs know that the other players can't beat the crap out of you. And Wembanyama seems more fragile than James because he's more spidery because he's 7'4".
Well, they play two different styles. And yes, LeBron James got the flopping moniker for a reason because he does flop a lot. And don't get me wrong, LeBron James off the court, I love the man to death. He does so much for the community. He is a true ambassador, not only for the game, but for, just as a role model that people should follow. On the court, he flops a lot. He works hard, but he does flop a lot. But Wembanyama, he doesn't do that. Wembanyama, just like many other big men, they take a lot of hits. Shaq never complained about the hits, and he was getting fouled a lot. Kareem never complained about the hits, and he was getting fouled a lot. Honestly, Jokic gets hammered a lot. He doesn't complain about the fouls all the time. Wembanyama's in that same boat. He gets hit a lot. People are climbing his arm, holding on to his shirt. I mean, when people got upset, when Karl Anthony Towns drove to the hole and they called a foul on Karl Anthony Towns, but if you go back and look at the replay, Karl Anthony Towns had hooked Wembanyama's arm, and Wembanyama couldn't lift his arm. So it definitely was a foul on Karl Anthony Towns. But the thing is that he takes a pounder, and he's going to have to put on weight.
Yeah, he doesn't weigh very much.
Then he'll be able to be a little bit less fragile. And don't get me wrong, he has a great durability right now. The only thing that put him out for half a season was he had a blood clot. That was the only thing right now.
Okay. So I got this other story that's crazy. Tommy Robinson is an anti-Muslim, anti-minority, anti-immigrant figurehead. He's a leader in Britain of anti-white. He's a white supremacist guy who spreads hate, and he's the leading guy who does that in the UK. He just went to Moscow to praise, what Russia does, because Russia's kind of a Haiti country. And while he was there, he met with Elon Musk's dad, who himself is like kind of a white supremacist. Maybe more than kind of.
Sasha and I.
What was Elon Musk's dad doing in Russia? That would be my question. I mean, that is not the easy. I've been to Russia. Sasha's been to Russia, but right now, that is not the easiest country to get into. So my question is, what? Maybe AI knows. What was Elon Musk's dad doing in Russia?
But he's been there for a number of years. It's not that he just came a week ago or so. He's been there for a number of years. And this is, if you know a little bit of the history of Musk and his education and his upbringing in school or so on, his father and his dad, his grandfather, they were fascists. They were real Nazis. So that's his upbringing, and this is where the man who believes in the Nazism and so on, where else he can hide in this world? Only in Russia, nowhere else. So that's why he is in Russia, and he will stay in Russia, and he will end up in Russia. And maybe that's the best way of doing, because
maybe that's a good place for Elon Musk.
Huh?
Maybe that's a good place for Elon Musk to end up, is in Russia.
Most likely, yes.
I mean, like I said, a guy who won the lottery, which is what he did, just, he's like, to me, he's way overrated, way overhyped, and a complete hypocrite. I mean, a guy goes, I cut government spending, and as we know on this program, he received $38 billion, right, Rick, in government contracts. Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is,
billion.
$38 billion in government contracts. So this guy gets on TV and with his chainsaw, cut spending, government spending. In the meantime, he's shoving in $38 billion into his corporation. Really? Now that is what we call ethics 101, not. So, when you look at Elon Musk, what are you looking at? Basically a problem child, which is what he was, at least. I have his book back here. I go, this dude is a serious problem child. Yet the serious problem child is about to become our first trillionaire. So we should all, oh yes, Elon and Donald. Oh yes, Elon and Donald. Except this group doesn't seem to be like that.
The thing is people continue to support this kind of behavior and things, and then in doing so, you have the rich getting richer now. And while we're sitting here talking, the Congress and Senate and whatever are having a hearing about the veterans and their benefits and how to manage it. And, why do we have to have a meeting, a legal meeting about how to manage it more efficiently? I mean, if the government was running efficiently, then there wouldn't be a problem. So it's apparent that they have to sit down and do all of these meetings. But, in a real business life, they'd all be fired. They would all be cut off at the neck, and you would hire in people to get the job done. And I just think we the people should be running the government, and we're running it wrong. I mean, they're out there trying to take Albania away from Albania. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, I don't really care anymore about the sports or who's holding what event and World Cup where anymore. We've got bigger problems, and those bigger problems are war, money being misused and allocated for our future. I mean, there's a lot of problems going on, and that hearing's going on right now. And I guess I'm going to go sit down and read the bill because the Republicans are pushing it hard and heavy, going, oh, the Democrats didn't do it when they had a chance. And I got to wonder what's in that bill that's going to screw every veteran in this country, because there shouldn't be a situation where they need help and benefits and need it now, or that it got delayed. The veterans served our country. They deserve a clean system, nobody touching their money, and they get what they worked for. And it should be that simple. It should not be this complicated. Men make things complicated. I'm just going to tell you right now. Men can design and engineer something thinking that they're doing job security and make things so complicated no one else can figure it out, and it breaks all the time. Just saying, I deal with it all the time at home, and I re-engineer everything that men have overcomplicated in my life.
Well, they do that in the tax code also. I mean, I was doing a review for somebody. I said, dude,
designed to steal money. That's
it's
all
complicated
it is.
and built to stay that way,
So,
and some of it's
money
really
in-
complicated. It's insane.
Right. It should be
Yeah.
money in, money out. It could be
Yeah,
ran
keep
through
it
a
simple.
blockchain theory. There should be no tax cuts, no this or that, or loopholes for anyone. Actually, this is the way it should run. It hit me like a ton of bricks. You have a tax system to say everybody pays in 15%. Everyone, no tax cuts, no give backs, nothing. And then if you earn over $40,000 or $400,000 a year, kind of like a little bonus, maybe you only pay in 14%. And then if you earn over $1 million a year, you pay 12% on what's past the 400,000. So whatever is over 400,000, because that seems to be the big cutoff everywhere for tax cut benefits. I would say do a incentive program for people to earn more money, but don't untax them completely. Just reduce the taxes a little bit as a bonus for earning more money. But I think that we need to get back to a basic system, get rid of the IRS agents, Go send them to process immigrants, seeing as how we don't have enough people to process immigrants, not detain them, but process them so that what? They pay in taxes. Because if you legalize the hardworking immigrants, they will pay in taxes. But all we've done is detained hardworking immigrants who were paying in some taxes, and we are paying for them at private prisons, which are owned by all of this administration's friends. So we're just paying back into the rich man pocket. And, I guess, Nick should be happy about that, but
I'm thrilled,
Well, the
actually.
issue-
But
I
keep
know you
going.
are.
The issue
It doesn't hurt me. I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't hurt my pocketbook. But I am concerned about the future of hard-working Americans who do nothing but work hard every day. And that money should be, when taxes are paid in, that money should be coming back for their benefits, not into the pockets of the rich and shameless.
We need a progressive tax system that holds people accountable. What you would describe as more of a regressive tax system, which would shift the burden onto the lower income individuals.
We're not shifting the burden. The burden is shifted on the lower income when you give big tax cuts to people who make more money. All I'm saying is give them a little bit of a perk, not a lot, but everyone up to 400,000. If you earn 400,000 or less, everyone pays 15%. Everyone. Then when you make more, you can, but that's incentive to go out and make more. You get a little bit of a cut, not a full cut, but a little bit. But it's after the 400.
Because
that's not regressive.
It is.
That's
It's very regressive. The reason it's regressive is the fact that you're giving a bigger tax cut to the individuals that make more money. It's still the same thing. It's a regressive tax rate.
It's not. Or then just do a 15% across the board, period. Everyone pays 15%.
So,
no one gets a reduction. Everyone gets 15%.
a flat tax is also a regressive thing. So you need a progressive
It's
tax
not
rate.
regressive.
It is, because it shifts the burden still onto the lower income. The way that it
Why should it be progressive? If I make more money, why should I have to pay more?
I'm trying to get there. So because of the amount, think about it this way. Because a decent analogy that people put out there is if you have, say, Nick, you have 100 cookies on your plate. You have 100 cookies on your plate. Kim has 2. I have 1. Dr. Sharif has 3. Sasha has 4, and Rick has 5. If you put in that, we'll say 50% just to make it easy. So if I take half of my cookie, I have half a cookie to live off of. If you take half of yours, you have 50 cookies to live off of. So if you do it that route, then I'm struggling even more so than you are. You're still able to live and do whatever you want to. I can't. I can barely even eat now.
But we're not saying 50%. We're saying a fraction.
I'm getting there. So say, for example, if I then pay 25% and Nick still pays that 50%, I now have 75% of that cookie, that one cookie that I have to live off of, which is more than that 50% that I had. Nick can still live off that 50%. So therefore, he's not losing anything. So the
but if
bigger
it's
tax
15% across the board,
obviously, you guys
That's
don't
a crime.
understand.
Wait.
You
Let me
don't
finish.
understand how wealthy people
Let
think.
me finish.
Okay,
Let me finish.
I don't care, and I want more
So
cookies.
again, if we're going to a progressive tax rate, then yes, the upper end are still going to pay a little bit more to help out the lower end individuals who cannot pay a whole bunch in the first place. Yes, we can all agree currently the wealthier pay the majority of the taxes because of all that. But again, the incentive for making more money isn't, hey, you pay a lower tax rate. Nobody goes and says, I'm going to get a better job and pay more money and make more money because I can pay lower taxes. Absolutely nobody does that. So there's no incentive in that tax rate. What it is you
nobody's going to make more money to pay more taxes. That's what I'm
Let's
saying.
do some
when we talk about the golden age of the U.S., what was the current tax rate at that time?
What, in the 60s, it was
It was
the
like 94%.
Thank you. So
91,
we're complaining
94%.
about paying
94%.
30% right now when the highest tax rate in the golden era, when we talk about all these things, we're acting as if we haven't paid more taxes before and people still weren't making more money at that time.
I want to
So-
talk about Musk before we go. Between
Okay.
2014 and 2018, Musk's personal wealth increased by $13.9 billion, but he paid less than $500 million in taxes for a tax rate of 3.27%.
That shouldn't be.
He paid
Not
zero
unusual.
federal taxes in 2018. In 2021, he paid an estimated $11 billion on income on an $86 billion increase in his wealth. For people estimate he paid roughly a 10% tax rate when he made $90 billion in 1 year.
And if you think about it,
Not unusual.
if you
Not
paid the normal
unusual.
tax rate,
Here we go. There's the
that
Musk
normal
tax rate.
30% that he or 27% that he was supposed to pay, how much money would have been in there for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, the roads, and so on and so forth? Just like
None.
Jeff Bezos played so
None.
well.
Hey,
So
Jacoby, none, because Medicare is only on earned income. Most of his income's not earned, so he'll pay nothing in Medicare. Social Security has a cap around 170,000, and he's already paid into it, so he'll pay no more in Social Security.
Well, let's
So
talk
with Musk,
about what the
No
cap,
more
the
Social
cap
Security,
is.
no contribution to Medicare. He goes like this because the system allows him to do it.
Right.
The
That's
cap
what you need to do
on-
across the
so
board.
again, we're
The
back
cap
to
Well,
on-
you have
cap
to
on
lift the
Social
cap.
Security is you pay a tax, a certain percent of your money goes to Social Security payments until you hit 170,000, and any money you earn above that, you pay 0% to Social
That's
Security.
correct. And then to make matters worse, on interest and dividends, you pay nothing. Okay, and most of your income, if you're wealthy, is not wages; it's an interest and
We
dividends.
need to get
And you
rid of the
pay
loopholes. Need to get rid
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
loopholes.
that's what you have to
Pay
do.
a
But right now, the American public, how many of you guys took taxes in high school? Income taxes, corporate? No, because they don't offer it. Okay,
He did.
so because you didn't take corporate income tax, individual income tax, partnership tax, you know nothing about it, and that's the sad thing. They made the entire American public are ignorant as to how the tax code actually works, and so but the rich people aren't. They actually either have tax attorneys or themselves, and so what happens is they're getting away with murder, and that's the reason you have a
Yes.
what do you call
And
it? You
we're
have
getting
this-
away with overtime. So
Oh,
we
yeah,
are
no,
done
overtime.
for
No, we gotta
today.
go.
Everyone, thank you for watching us. Thank you for coming. Seeing you on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, please take care. And don't forget to watch Salsa's show this afternoon to get an update on
It will
the
be repeated.
real world news. That's right. We'll see you. Until then,
See you.
take care. Bye.